as it is to Canadians. Okay, so my name is Yemisi Lebushe. I'm a licensed financial security advisor, and let me talk about how taxes affect your investment in Canada. How taxes affect your investment in Canada. So let me start from the basics because anyone will be reading this or listening to this. See, the first time you open an account with a bank in Canada, that account is called a checking account. But if you go a step further to say, okay, I want to open a savings account, most of us we have 10, 30 years experience, 40 years experience, 50 years experience before coming to Canada, right? But when you come to Canada, you now assume it is the same strategy. If you open a standard savings account, that account is taxable in Canada. So whether they call it platinum savings account or they call it newcomer savings account, whatever, or they call it butterfly savings account, so far it is a standard savings account, that account is taxable in Canada and they usually issue T5. Okay, so what type of investment will you start from? TFSA means tax free savings account. Tax free savings account. So when you have TFSA, it is tax free. That is why, yes, there is a savings account that is taxable. The interest that you earn in a normal savings account is considered a taxable uh, income. Okay, so tax-free savings account is good for you. So, in other words, if you have a savings account and you don't have a TFSA, then you are missing something because the TFSA is tax-free in Canada. Okay? Now, that is the tax benefit of TFSA. So, when you open TFSA and you put money in your TFSA, that money should also be invested. You can invest it in GIC, you can invest it in shares, you can buy shares of Dollarama, shares of Tesla, you can invest it in segregated funds, you can invest it in what is called ETF. If you don't know, then ask people that know, because mutual funds are not the only type of investment in Canada. Don't let anybody give you information that is 20 years old. There are investments that can even pay you dividends. You can buy shares of companies, and this can give you what is called dividends. So if you buy shares of some companies, these companies pay dividends. Okay, so which part of the world are you streaming from? Right, which part of the world are you streaming from? Would you like to talk about how to invest, buy shares of Amazon, buy shares of the Rama, and I am able to guide you on this journey. Okay, so it's a privilege to be here. Tax-free savings account means you put in money into the tax-free savings account. It is invested for you. You generate interest. Your money plus interest is not taxable. The only challenge that I've seen with TFSA every single year is, oh, I have no idea about UK. I have 5,000 in my TFSA. I have 50,000 in my TFSA. Can I use it to file taxes? You cannot use your TFSA to file taxes. It is not a tax deductible account. It cannot be used when you're filing taxes. Okay, no idea. Becoming, I don't know. For UK, no, I'm not licensed in UK, so I specifically talk about Canada because my license is for Canada, right? I wouldn't really want to say what I don't know. And I've seen one or two guys on TikTok that talk about investment options. I can look for them and send you their contact, and you can also do well to actually verify them. So guess what? Then I talk about the maximum contribution. Your maximum contribution into your TFSA, that is the total amount you are allowed to put into your TFSA, is different from me, right? It's different from mine based on the year you came to Canada. So if you're someone, you came to Canada 2020 and you were dealing with immigration, you were an international student, you were busy with life, you did not even think about investing. So this is 2026, you are now ready to invest. For TFSA, you have the contribution room for 2020, you have the contribution room for 2021, you have the contribution room for 2022, You have the contribution loan for 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. So that is the total amount of money. So you have a larger space. So for 2020, I believe it was 5,500. For 2021, 5,500. For 2022, 6,000. For 2023, 6,500. For 2024, 2025, 2026, the total contribution room into your TFSA is 7,000 each. So 2024, 7,000, 2025, 7,000, 2026, 7,000. So when you add all of that together, that gives you an idea of the total space that you are allowed, the total contribution room, the total space you have in your TFSA. So $1, $2, but there is a maximum 500, 5,000, whatever. There is a maximum amount that you are allowed, or I am allowed to put into the TFSA. So when you put your money in TFSA, it should be invested. It should be invested. So that is where my area of expertise come in. Do you want interest of $1? Thank you, Mark Lambs. God bless you. Do you want to invest and receive 1%, 2%, 5%, or 25%? Right. It is important that you leverage on all this information. FHSA, okay, how does FHSA affect your taxes? How does your FHSA help you to get tax refund? FHSA means First Home Savings Account, and it simply means you have never bought a house in Canada, you're looking to buy in 1, 2, 3, 5 years. Take note, go ahead and open the FHSA. It is not only banks that can open it for you. The reason why my services are important to Canadians is because I can help you set up your FHSA from the comfort of your home. It is 2026. There are so many things you can do from the comfort of your home, from the comfort of your couch. You can actually talk to a self-employed financial advisor, and I can show you options. If you invest with this company, you get 10%. If you invest with this company, you get 15%. If you invest with this company, you get 1%. Because I don't work with just one company, I work with several companies. So that is why busy professionals like to work with us. I like, yes. And I have worked with a guy that's very busy, very, very busy. And he has been like, for 2 years, MC, I did not have time to go to the bank to invest. Thank God that there's an option to work with self employed financial advisor like you. So you can actually invest from the comfort of your home, right? And that is why my services will always be relevant in Canada. So, first home savings account. If you know that in a year, 2, 3, 5 years, you will like to buy a house and you want to start planning towards that objective, it is good to open your FHSA. So let's start from the basics. FHSA means first home savings account. Excuse me. Who is eligible? You are 18 and above, you live in Canada, you have never owned a house before, you've never bought a house before, or in the last 5 years, there is no house in your name. So you bought it in the past for whatsoever reason, you sold it, right? But in the last 5 years, you don't own a house in your name, or you've never bought a house in your name, then you're eligible to have first home savings account. What is the benefit? Let's start from the basics. Let's say you open FHSA with $0 because you are so busy with so many things. Your minimum wage is what you're doing. You're new in Canada, but you open the FHSA with $0 because you open that FHSA this current year. Let's say next year you're not ready to contribute. So because you opened the FHSA this year, you have secured your contribution run for this year, which is 8,000. So the following year, you also have the contribution run for the following year, which is 8,000. 8,000, 8,000. That is a total of 16,000. If that same year you're able to put in 16,000, it will help you for the third year's taxes. It might even help you to get like refund of 30% of what you contributed, or 50 or 40% of what you contributed, depending on your income that you earn in that third year. So that is why we say FHSA is a tax deductible account. So it helps you when you're filing your taxes, and that can help you to get tax refund. So don't be like people that do not know. That is why information is power in this part of the world. You know you want to buy a home. You did not inherit money. So you want to start saving and investing for the down payment of your home. 200, 1,000, 5,000. You are doing it steadily. Where do you put that type of money? That money you want to use it to buy a home, and it should be put in FHSA because of the tax benefit. Because let me use some example. Let's say you have 20,000 in a TFSA. You can't use it for income taxes. It's going to be invested for you. And you have the same 20,000 in FHSA, and that money you want to use it to buy that home. You have, in total, you have 20K, right? The first year you have enjoyed the tax refund, second year you enjoyed the tax refund, third year you've enjoyed the tax refund, but you were not able to enjoy tax refund with your TFSA, right? So if you have questions, I'm right here to take your questions. I'm right here to take your questions. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next registered account, which is RESP. RESP. So before I talk about RESP, so whether you have TFSA or FHSA, the money you put into your TFSA or FHSA should be invested for you. You can invest in shares, GIC, you can invest in high interest savings account, you can invest in segregated funds. So there are different options. So for more details, feel free to reach out to me. Now, RESP. R for rabbit, E for egg, S for Samuel, P for Paul. RESP means Registered Education Savings Plan. So if you have children younger than 16, you are going to love this plan, because RESP, when you open the RESP, there are three benefits that the government can add to that plan, depending on you as the parent, your income, depending on the province where you live. So your child was born in Canada, but you are still a temporary resident, you have your work permit, but your child became a permanent a citizen before you. So far that child is a citizen, go ahead and open the RASP, even with $0. Oh yeah, me see, I'm doing part-time job because of my baby, because this one, story time. Open the RASP with $0 at that time that your income is low. Because by the time you start working, there are some benefits you are not going to receive, which is the first one I want to talk about. So for the RASP, there are three benefits the government adds. The first one we call Canada Learning Bond. That is why it is very important that you open the RESP as soon as you hear of it. You have children younger than 16, your child is a permanent resident or a citizen, you are busy with so many things, you don't have money to invest, open the RESP with $0. Because if you at that time you are considered low income, CRA adds $500 to that RESP. We call it Canada Learning Bond. At that time, if you don't open it and you start working and your income is the threshold that is called thriving, right? You will not receive that $500 anymore. That one is gone and gone forever. So what is the third benefit? The second benefit that you usually hear is that, oh, if you contribute, the government of Canada adds 20% to your child's RESP. That is totally correct. Okay, the maximum you are able to put into the RESP for the child in 1 year is 2,500. 2,500 divided by 12 gives us around 208. So if you put in 200, the government of Canada adds 20% of that into your child's RESP. If you put in $100, 20% of $100, the government adds that amount to your child's RESP. Thank you so much for the support. I'm very grateful. God bless you, Mark Glance. God bless you, Becoming Space. God bless and honor you. So you can see that. Now, the third benefit that is added to your child's RESP is only for two provinces, British Columbia and Quebec. British Columbia, between the ages of 6 and 9, the government of British Columbia adds 1,200 to your child's RESP. For Quebec, it is 3,600. For Quebec, excuse me, it's not depend. It doesn't depend on age bracket. So from the day the child is born, you can open RESP 2 weeks. So far, if the baby is 2 weeks old, you can have RESP for the child. So from 2 weeks old to age 17, the 3,600 that Quebec is going to offer and give your child is going to be paid annually. So they are not going to pay it one time into the child's RESP. But see, 3,600 is not money you are going to pick on the floor. So if you are in Quebec, you are going to receive that 3,600 for your child. You only need to open the RESP, right? And then if you are in British Columbia, yes, British Columbia adds 1,200 to your child's RESP. Okay, okay. So when you now open the RESP and you decide the amount of money that you are comfortable to put into your child's RESP, guess what? That money should be invested. That account is not a pillow. It is you don't just put money there. It should be invested for you. It should be invested, and that is my job, right? I've talked about the provinces that pay provincial benefits. So for any other province, depending on your situation, you get the first two, right? Which is Canada Learning Bond if your income as a parent is low. The second one, every province receives it. So there are three benefits that is added to RESP. Okay, it's not everybody that gets the three. Okay, every province in Canada would receive two benefits to your child's RESP. Every province, except Quebec and British Columbia, that will receive three benefits. Okay, now this is so I don't confuse anyone. The first benefit, you are only eligible to receive the first benefit, which is $500, if the income of the family is low. That benefit is called Canada Learning Bond, $500, and there is other subsequent Canada Learning Bond if the family continues to be low income. But you can see that it's not every family that is eligible for low income, right? It might be if some families might be eligible, especially if we have single parents, right? Single parents that have one, two, three kids, they might easily fall into that category. But it's not every single parent that falls into that category of single or low income. So the first benefit, you are only eligible to receive that benefit for your child if the parent's income is considered low income. There's a video that I made regarding that, right? It is the Canada Learning Bond is based on some criteria. But the popular benefit that you know that is added to RESP is what is called Canada Education Savings Grant. So that one is based on your own contribution as the parent. So i- if you contribute within the limit, government adds 20% of what you contributed. So you contributed $100, 20% of that is what? 20% of that is $20, right? Government adds $20 to your child's RESP. If you are someone, you contribute 200 into your child's RESP, 20% of that gives us $40. So the government of Canada adds $40. So your money plus the government benefit plus interest, sorry, your money plus the government benefit is going to be invested, and that helps your child's RESP to grow up faster. There are other ways to invest for your child. Now, the question I always ask some parents is, after school there is life. RESP is for education. Do you want your child is 1 year old, 5 year old, and you want to invest for that child? So by the time the child is 25, you can say, "Happy birthday! I have $50,000 gift because you took out of the child's Canada child benefit and you invested for that child. That 50K investment, the child can use it to buy a home and start a good life. The child can use it to start a business. But that is a different type of investment and it's different from RESP. So you can do RESP for your child and also you can also do investment for that child that they can use even for after school. See, we all think differently and we are all right in our space. The truth is, a child that is eligible to go to school in Canada can receive grants from the government or loan from the government, or the child can even take loan, right? There are so many options. Or the child can even win scholarship, and then eventually the child does not even need the RESP. But you see, the investment that a child can use for anything, right? You can have that type of investment. The child can use the investment to buy a property. A financially stable child will have time to visit you, will have time to pamper you. But a child that is like 35, 40, and that child has to do two jobs, three jobs to pay bills, they will not have time. For a parent that is 80 or 70, they will not have time. So all the money that you use to buy stuff, liabilities, you want to consider investing for that child because it is important to invest for your child. I'm not talking about don't buy designer shoe, designer bags for your kids, but consider this. Don't make other designer companies richer than your child. If you are able to buy designer clothes, $400, $300 for your child, after 6 months they can't wear it again because they're already chubby and all of that. But there are ways to actually buy things that are not too expensive and the child still look good. And then you are still able to invest for this child. You are your child's financial GPS. You are the one to decide how the future of these children will be, especially if you love your kids. I have seen some people that don't love their children and they'll be like, I'm not investing for this child. They will figure it out when they get mature. The child too will say the same thing. I don't have time for you. You are 80. Figure it out yourself. I have my life to live. What you sow is what you reap. What you sow is what you reap, right? Whether it is $50, you can start investing for these children. So the choice is, do you want to invest for your child's education or you want to invest for your child's after school? The child for school has access to loans, grants, scholarship, three things. But after school, they start from zero. They start from zero, applying to 10 jobs, 100 jobs before they get a job. But the child is 2 weeks old, 1 year old, 5 year old. You receive Canada child benefit. It is better than nothing, right? $50 from that Canada child benefit, you start investing. Before you know, it compounds in interest. The child is 21, and then you have like 50K in the investment or 100,000. That is one of the best gifts your child is going to receive from you. And a kind child will never forget that forever, right? So it all depends. The Canada child benefit, you will still spend it. But if you spend it on things on social life that does not bring money back to your generation, then maybe you have not done well. So we are all adults and we are able to take decisions that would affect us positively or negatively. So the topic today is how taxes affect your investment in Canada. My name is Yemisi Legushe. I'm a licensed financial security advisor in Canada, and permit me to tell you that taxes is the most expensive thing you pay in Canada, including myself. Yes. Let me now warn you. At retirement, we are still going to pay taxes. And you are the one to decide based on what you do now, how your taxes will be in the next 30 years or 40 years. So do you want to be at 65 and your taxes is like 30%, 20%, or 0%? Why did I say 0%? Legally, there are some investments that are tax free. You do not pay taxes. So you want to use those ones first. When those ones you have been done, you can now consider investment that are taxable. Common sense is not is common. Don't let me say common sense is common, right? There are investment that are tax free. Why don't you use that? You have your TFSA. You can invest under your life insurance. It's one of the best type of investment you can have for yourself. So if you are 15, 20, 25, and you want to work with someone like me to help you retire early, right? One of the smartest things you can do for yourself in your 20s is to open a life insurance policy and start investing there. Yes, because by the time you open it at 25, you invest. By the time you're 45, the investment might be worth 300,000, 400,000, depending on who helps you to set up your investment under your life insurance. And at age 45, you can leverage on the policy to buy your second home. You can leverage on the policy to do what? To do a lot of things. So, yes, you are able to invest under your life insurance if you live in Canada. Right. My gloves. My God. God please. Thank you. So, let me know if you have questions.